Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hungry, Horny, and Confused. This is one of your co-hosts, Will, the other co-host,
The captain.
and we want to welcome everyone back. And for those that haven't dived into any other of the episodes yet, fuck. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hungry, Horny, and Confused. This is your co-host, Will, my other co-host,
The captain.
the captain, and I want to welcome everyone back. And for those that haven't seen our recent episodes, welcome aboard. This is going to be a fun, an adventurous, exciting journey. What do you think about that, Ian?
Yeah, I think it's been a good classic Tuesday. We got a lot going on. In the sports world, we got a election. We got the Powerball last night. So yeah, there's just a lot going on, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, but first things first, I want to say Powerball rigged. I thought that for sure. I had the winning
Did you check
numbers.
your numbers?
Yeah, check my numbers like freaking 25 times. How many times you check your numbers?
One. I only got one. I think I got the first number on one ticket.
I
One
got
of my
the
five
I
tickets.
got the first number on one ticket, but no Powerball number.
No, it was pretty disappointing. I,
Yeah,
I immediately when I woke up and checked the numbers, I knew that those were not the numbers that I had. It was weird because they delayed it, and
for some reason that made me feel even more confident I won.
I know like it was like a sign from the forces above.
I just thought I was due, man. I thought I was due. Apparently not. Apparently not. But anyways, fuck the Powerball. Congrats, that SoCal motherfucker. Anyways, let's dig
Somebody
into
won.
what we're gonna dig into today. Why don't we?
Yeah, I'm ready to. I'm grabbing my shovel. I'm ready to dig in.
God, that was pretty good. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
grab your
that.
shovel.
Congrats.
Let's dig.
All right, let's dig. But here's the thing: I don't even know what we're digging for because I don't know what we're getting into. I know there's a couple things we're getting into. I have a few things pulled up, ready to go.
Yeah.
But should we just get into the easy topic to get into?
Yeah, we can get into the NBA. I
Yeah,
think if you saw our first episode, we went over the NBA over unders for season wins, and now that we're a couple weeks into the season, we think it's a good time to look back on that and reflect on maybe where we were right, where we were wrong, what teams or players have been surprising to us, or vice versa.
and let me just say, first and foremost, when we get into this, this is very fresh into the year. We're only like 10 to 12 games into the year. Um, so far, our over unders are generally pretty awful, but like I said, very, very early in the year. And unexpectedly, we were pretty consistent and similar on every single over under. I think we were probably at the same pick about 80 to 90% of the picks.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you see is on paper. You look at the teams and you look at a team like the Warriors and you think, obviously, they're not going to start 3-7, 2-7 coming off of a championship. But then they get off to a slow start. And I think that has to do with when you just, when you've had success, especially in the past year, I don't think you come out with as much of a desire to prove yourself as a team. Like you look at a team like the Jazz, who start. I'm pretty sure they must have been in like the 20s for wins. I'm guessing on their line
Projection?
projection,
Yeah,
and they
definitely.
start out like 5-1 because if I'm a player and you tell me that I'm gonna lose almost every game, I'm probably gonna come out with something to prove.
And on top of that, if you're an NBA player too, no matter what kind of franchise you're playing for, no matter what the franchise thinks they're playing for, at the end of the day, you either are playing for a contract in a few years, you have a contract coming up, so your stats matter. So you're going to play as hard as you can, unless you're
Yeah,
one of those guys that.
Like,
Just
fuck
saying,
what the
yeah,
team thinks. Like, I'm trying to get
yeah.
paid if I'm a player.
So like on that note, let me just dive into the probably the biggest surprise of the year so far, which is I'm sure if you asked anybody what their biggest surprise was,
The Orlando Magic starting.
I don't want to get into that yet. Let's start off on like a upbeat, more positive note. The
You're right.
Utah Jazz, they're 9-3, first in the West. They're nine
Jesus.
and three.
Wow.
So what do you think about that?
When I look at their team,
Like even their team, I don't give a shit what anyone says about them tanking. What they have on their roster doesn't say 9-3 to me. I don't know how they're doing this.
a lot of their players though have been players players like Colin Sexton, Laurie Markkinen. These are players to me that have always been really good players, but not in the greatest situation, not the greatest team for them. And now that they're getting the chance to kind of be more of a centerpiece and really show their skills, you're starting to see. I've always thought Laurie Markkanen was good, but he didn't really fit on the Bulls. That was weird, a weird fit for him. And then he goes to Cleveland where he played fine, but
He was playing the three position
yeah,
there.
you already
That's
have
so
you have
awkward.
Mobley and Allen. Like you can't have
But he
Markkanen.
was so good they had to start him at the same time.
Yeah, so seeing him be on his basically maybe be the best player on a team is really showing just how good he is and potential all star.
Potential. I think he's on the pace for sure to be
Well,
an all
this yeah, he
star.
might this year if they keep it up.
And like on that note, Colin Sexton, I've always thought he was good, and he, I wanted him out of Cleveland. I'll
Yeah,
admit that because he was a bad fit besides Darius Garland because Garland needs the ball in his hand all the time, and if Sexton is going to be good, he needs the ball in his hands too. So Utah, perfect chance for him. Just like you said, it's a new team, new opportunity, new situation for him, much needed, and it's just all I know is Utah's not playing for anything. They still
we thought they were playing for Wemby, but apparently not.
nah, fuck that, dude. They're playing for Wemby. They're in such a good situation. 9-3. They have Marketing playing unbelievable. They have Sexton proven to be. I guarantee right now at the point he's doing, he's having a couple teams regretting they never signed him in the offseason. So that's two trade chips right there. Probably another two first rounders. I think they're in perfect situation for Wembenyama. And obviously, after you trade those two guys away, you're going to be in a better situation to tank and have a worse record for the year.
Wait, so how are they gonna get? Sorry, I think I kind of blanked out there. How are they
It
gonna get?
happens
How are they gonna get Wembanyama if they keep winning?
by trading away their two best players, the two best contributors,
Marketing and
Sexton. And by trading those two away, they're going to be able to get two more first rounders, which probably they're not going to be this year, but if they are this year, they're not going to be that high. But, anyways, you can just use those two trade chips to potentially trade up and get
let's
Webanyama.
dig our shovels into that a little bit. If you're
Webanyama, I love talking about Webanyama.
no
It's
no
my
no no
boy.
no into I'm down, but if what team would be interested in a talent like Laurie Markkinen or Colin Sexton?
Let's start off with Sexton because
And do you
he's
think
less
they're trying to
intimidating.
trade Sexton or Conley more?
Conley, Sexton. Oh, we're trying to trade Conley more.
Yeah, because he's
Conley's another
value's just
asset.
gonna get is just gonna depreciate.
All right, let's
Whereas
start with
Sexton's
Conley.
young.
Let's do all three.
Okay,
Conley. Let's go through our best fits for each player.
I like that.
All right, let's go through Conley first. Um, I know I can tell you right now. I think the Suns could use a lot of backup point guard minutes, and I know it's hard to call Conley a backup, but he is older, and he can accept the point to where he. I mean, Chris Paul's really old too, so
Is he good at shooting, Conley?
Conley, yeah,
Yeah.
he can play off ball too, so you can potentially have a three guard starting lineup. That's just the first team that comes up to mind because I know that they're in need of more point guard minutes because Chris Paul, obvious, obvious injury history.
That's
So
true.
that's one team. Um, Let's see. I'm gonna go through the standings real quick now that I got that in front of me. See if that'll help me.
I was the first team that came to mind. I'm not sure if this would really be a great fit, but the Lakers came to my mind. But at the same time, I think maybe they want a younger. If they were going to trade for a guard, maybe they want someone a little bit younger with LeBron and AD. But
Yeah,
he
because
can shoot the ball. If he can shoot, he can fit better than what they got going on now.
he's definitely going to be an improvement for them. But the thing with the Lakers is they're so far behind where they need to be. I don't think he moves the needle enough for them.
Yeah,
But like, I agree, he's a good fit for them. But like, he's what they should have done instead of getting Westbrook.
yeah, like 2 years ago.
Exactly. Like they would be off so much better right now. Like I see where your head's at, but that's just where I'm thinking when it comes to that. I think I'm looking through the teams. I think I'm sticking with the Suns. They don't have a lot to give up because obviously I think Aiton's too much to give up for him. Um, Jay Crowder. I mean, why would Utah want Jay Crowder? I don't know how many first round picks they have. Just a first round pick for him.
Yeah,
Let me keep looking. You think of anybody else?
I kind of like your idea of him being a backup for an already contending team and just being that maybe that piece that just moves the needle a little bit and gives a team maybe like the Bucks a little bit of a better chance backing up Drew Holiday, being someone that could come in with the second unit. I'm sure they have some trade assets
Yeah, I think they
and
do. I think they have a couple
really
first
push
round picks.
them to the favorite in the East. If they probably are already the favorite, but you can't deny that wouldn't help their team a little bit having a smart, and he kind of fits their MO too. Like they like smart, good
He kind
players
of
to put
reminds me
around
of Drew
Giannis.
Holiday a lot too.
Yeah, which
He's
is why he could just be the backup.
and those two can play together pretty well because Drew Holiday can play off the ball,
Yeah.
Middleton can play the three, Giannis can play the freaking 1 to 5.
One thing I'll say is that if a team were to trade for him, I think it would be a contending team. Because if you're a team that's in rebuild mode or 2, 3 years out from a championship, I don't think you're trying to get Conley, who in 3 years will probably possibly be out of the league or at the end of the bench. So
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on these three guys,
yeah,
so I'm going to stick with the Suns. But here's one more last thing I want to throw out. If Bones Highland doesn't work out, which I think he's good, I could see the Nuggets trading for him as well as insurance for Jamal Murray because you know Murray, he could definitely play a shooting guard as well.
I
So those
like
are
it.
probably my top two teams for Conley. Who are your top teams or top number one?
Yeah, I'll just stick with the Bucks, I guess. I like what you said, but I'd just say that it would probably be a contending team that would want him.
All right, let's go to Colin Sexton now.
Yep,
Best fits for Colin Sexton. I have one right now that screams out to me.
go for it.
Dallas Mavericks. Um, Luka Doncic
Interesting.
has way too much percentage of him handling the ball during the game. His usage is off the charts. He needs to honestly. I get that he's phenomenal, but put him on the bench more. You need to save him for the final minutes of the year. Sexton's the perfect guy for that. He gives you the energy off the bench. He can handle the ball.
Defense.
He gives you defense too off the ball with Luka, so he can play with Luka on the court. I'm sticking with the Mavericks. I think he's the best fit for them. Or they're the best fit for Colin, vice versa. Both teams.
Yeah, I like that.
And they're in win now mode too, where they would do a trade like that.
I'm I must go in a different direction with Colin. I think the fact that they've started 9-3 signals to me that they are not in the tank race for Wemby.
Yeah, but you think they're going to beat any of the playoff teams at the end of the year? Look at their roster,
Yeah,
brother.
but you already fucked up because you started off 9-3.
It's
Like you're
you're
not gonna be as like
12 games at 82. You got 80 games
yeah.
left.
Yeah, I'm sure he would be good on a lot of teams. One thing that is tough about him is he's not a great He's an all right shooter, and this is a shooters league. You want to have guards that can shoot, so I'm not too sure who would really be want to have him that much, but I think if you're the Jazz, you just hold on to him for now, develop him, maybe see what could, if anything, I'd trade Conley and Mark Henning and hold on to.
My
Or,
guy, my guy. Let me interrupt you real quick.
okay,
Every skirt. All
yeah,
right.
slide in,
So if
boy.
you're gonna stick with any of those three players,
Mark
Markkinen.
Henning. Yeah, what am I
Markkinen's
saying?
fucking killing it this
Trade
year, dude.
Conley.
Yeah, trade Conley and trade Sexton because I think you should trade all three just because. Fuck it, you got to start fresh. Start with Wembanyama, build around
But
him.
Mark Henning, you are starting fresh in a way. He's
Oh.
young, good. A lot of teams are probably looking at Mark Henning right now and being like, "Oh, that's a
If you find suitors for the other two, then keep him. But if you don't find suitors for the other two, then you gotta get rid of him because if you keep all three, you're gonna be like the Wizards. You're just gonna be mediocre every single year and just get late lottery picks and just that's just how it's gonna be. And you're never gonna be a serious contender. And that's what annoys the shit out of me with some franchises, aka Portland, aka like I said, the Wizards. Um, who else am I thinking of? Those are actually the top two teams that come to mind. I don't want
this.
to get
This
into
is a
that.
good segue for us.
We got one
Let's
more
talk
player.
about.
I want to get into marketing
Okay,
suitors though, because
okay,
I really like marketing
I do too.
because I think he out of those three players, he could definitely make any team way better than any of those other two players. Oops, excuse me, trash can. Um, what team do you think could use him? I just ran through this list within a millisecond, and one team popped to my mind. Do you have one you want to get into real quick? Do you want me to split this one off?
Hit it.
I think the Sixers are over Tobias Harris.
I swear to God, I was gonna say the exact same thing.
I think if
I was gonna say trade him for Tobias.
three-team trade
Dude,
somehow.
me and you are like
I like that.
fucking.
I like that.
It's fucking code, dog.
Unagi.
Your boys are in sync.
But like somehow find a three-team trade, find a suitor like the Kings that would take Tobias Harris because the Kings always somehow take a shitty player at the towards the downfall of the career. Send Tobias Harris to the Kings for like a second round, third round, fucking 10th round pick. Get marketed onto the Sixers. Give Jazz whatever first round pick you need. And I think that's the best fit for marketing. And it sounds like you agree.
So that was the first thing that came to my mind was, yeah, you put him with Embiid. He can spread the floor, shoot the ball. He's proven that he's not a player that needs to have the ball all the time. You can just stick him in there and have him be a good player. I think this Tobias never really fit super well with. He's a player I don't even really.
Can I spit this off real quick?
Yeah,
Let's
go.
think about it. All right, Sixers. I know you gave up a lot for James Harden, but if you have anything left, if you have enough to send a package to the Kings, like you have Tobias Harris, send him to the Kings, and then send your first round picks or whatever you need to get marketing to the Jazz. You get marketing from the Jazz. All your first round picks go to the Jazz. You send Tobias Harris to the Kings because he's younger than the guy I'm going to say. Obviously, I'm just going to say him. Trade him for Harrison Barnes. He's another perfect backup and like stretch four for that team too. Sixers, Sixers, Sixers. That's the answer. If you do anything else this offseason, I also have money on you to go to the finals to lose to the Warriors. So do this for me and do this for the season and do this for your fans. That's all I gotta say about that.
Do you think he would? How do you like this? Do you think that it would be a good trade for the Hawks, Collins for Markkanen? Swap them. Does that ring your bell at all?
Jazz wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I'm just not sure how
I like
much.
where your head's at with the
Yeah,
Hawks.
I'm just not sure how great a fit Collins is.
Jazz need draft capital.
Yeah,
If they're gonna trade away Markkanen.
yeah. I feel he doesn't really do anything for Utah. Okay.
Would you trade everything's going to come back to the Warriors. But would you trade Kuminga for Markkinen? If we were for sure to sign him under contract for multiple years, I think I would,
Probably, yeah.
and I think the Jazz would do that too, right? Or you think they would expect more? Kuminga's pretty freaking good, and he's 19.
I feel like that's a pretty fair trade, but
I
if
just
they
don't.
want to do like a pick
I haven't watched
or
enough Jazz
something,
games or Markkinen games to know how good he is at defense. 'Cause
I
they
just like that he's a four that can shoot and has
and
his
he's
own.
7 feet tall.
Yeah, he kind of has his own offensive game. I think in the right situation, he could be really good.
Okay, so that's who did I say for Markkinen again?
Sixers.
Sixers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oops. So yeah, that's my three suitors for those three teams. Did you have your three suitors? Or I know you said Sexton, you wanted to keep him, but
Yeah, I I agree with you. 76ers for Markkanen, for Sexton. I don't know, and for Conley, I like the Bucks as a backup.
yeah, I can just see him fitting in that system too with the Bucks.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
move on from the.
yeah, that was can't believe we talked about the Jazz for that long. Well, Utah, you better subscribe.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. All right, so besides Jazz being first place,
What other surprises?
surprises. Cleveland second, but I honestly expected Cleveland to be good, so
I
I'm not
like
too
Cleveland
surprised
a
by
lot.
that. Donovan Mitchell. Okay, here's my surprise. I think I took the under because I did not expect Donovan Mitchell to fit in this quickly with that team. Granted, Darius Garland has been out more than half of the games for them, but he looks great.
Their team almost reminds me of like when the Warriors were starting to find their. I'm not saying they're on the Warriors.
No, but
Well,
I get
now
that.
right now they
It's
are,
the
but
vibe. It's the vibe they
yeah,
give
but
off.
like I just like Garland a lot.
I
I
love
feel like
Garland.
he's just a humble, good player who is way better than most people. He
Well,
never gets talked about.
funny you bring up the Warriors and Garland because I already like Garland coming out of Purdue, I believe. He got hurt the first 5 years of college or first 5 games of college, but Steph Curry was the first NBA player to endorse Garland and be like, yeah, I think he's gonna be a stud. So after I heard that, I was like, oh, I definitely think he's gonna be good now.
You could when you watch him play, he has that like patience that you want in a player. He can shoot. He knows how to get to his spots, and he's smart. He
He
just
could read
I
the
never see him
defense.
like I never see him do dumb stuff, and that's key.
You don't see like that's one thing you've been missing with young point guards these days is them being able to read the floor and like develop the play as it develops through the
Yeah.
shot clock and whatnot.
And the
That was way
pairing
too
of him and
difficult.
Mitchell just makes sense.
Yeah,
Mitchell is
I love that trade. I know there's rumors of him going to New York because I know New York needs a superstar. They can't get it, yada yada yada. But that wasn't a good fit. Cleveland's ready to win now, not win now, but contend now at least and grow that into a contender. That was just a perfect fit for them, I think.
and if you're Cleveland, you have to make moves like that because you're not gonna draft. You're not gonna. Cleveland's not a superstar destination, so when you have an opportunity to get a superstar by trade, you got to take that and take
Exactly.
your shot because you're not just gonna be able to sign superstars like a Golden State or Lakers.
Yeah, you
You're
have
not
to
that.
have a perfect, ideal situation with salary cap room to get those players to come to your place. And at the end of the day, that's one out of 30 teams they're going to choose. And if you're not really one of the top five markets, that really drastically drops your odds of signing with that team.
Ohio has been kind of killing it.
But then if you think about it, it's all draft. They got Darius Garland draft, Evan Mobley draft, Jarrett Allen. Let me talk about this real quick. The Nets, the biggest mistake the Nets ever made, I believe it was a James Harden trade. They just threw in Jarrett Allen, like threw him in because they didn't want to sign him to an extension. Threw him into a trade for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Imagine him on the Nets right now. How good of a fit would that be? God,
The Nets kind of screwed everything up. They had a good thing going. What's the Warriors assistant coach who was there?
Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
perfect coach for them. Levert was a great player for them who they didn't need to trade, and Allen. It's also funny that Allen and Levert end up on the same team because if you remember,
Oh
Levert
yeah.
went to the Pacers and just never like played, and somehow ended up with
He just
Jared
dropped
Allen again.
41 the other night with Cleveland too.
He's got its moments where I'm like, this guy's a playmaker. Like he can score the ball.
And real quick about Kenny Atkinson. Um, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. You remember how he got hired for like a day or two for the Hornets job?
Yeah,
I believe that he was like full on content, like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll coach a team with LaMelo Ball, build it around him. But then I think he was brought back. I think Steve Kerr, my theory with the Warriors is Steve Kerr is going to retire with Steph Curry whenever he retires. Because have you heard Steph or Steve Kerr talk about Steph Curry? He wants to like make love to that man.
yeah.
But anyways,
He's like, thank you, Steph Curry.
yeah, like you made my coaching career,
which is true.
But yeah, once Steph Curry retires, Draymond retires, I think Steve Kerr is going to retire. And so he said, hey, Atkinson, I think you are a phenomenal coach. Stick around for a couple more years. When we're out the door, I want you to learn the system, carry on the system, and you're going to be the next head coach of the Warriors.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Because why else would you turn on that Hornets job after you accepted it? I'm sure there's a lot of other reasons too, personal wise.
Maybe he's in love with Steve.
I'm in love with Steve.
I mean, I've heard a lot of young ladies are.
Wink, wink.
He's a good-looking cat.
Yeah. All right. I don't know where that tangent started from, but next NBA thing we want to get into.
I say we get into one or two more things. Let's.
Oh, I want to talk about
Yeah.
Clippers. How disappointing they've been. Oh, Kawhi Leonard. Injury reset or setback. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that? Like the fuck. That sucks.
He never plays.
Yeah, that's kind of. I just want to bring that up real quick. I guess we don't really have to talk about that.
What happened? How did he get injured?
I didn't really know the specifics, but I'm pretty sure it was just a setback from his knee injury that he had prior to coming back to the season. But I know they were supposed. I thought they were going to be really, really good because if you think about it, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard combo, even a 60% John Wall, Reggie Jackson as a backup, that's going to be a really good team. But looks like you can write them off as a play-in team.
Lost season left, but
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That can go.
definitely is not shaped up the way we thought it would in the first, at least for me, in the first 3 weeks. Didn't see the Warriors being. I don't want to get into Warriors too much, but obviously not probably the most disappointing start out of any team when you look
Yeah.
at defending
we-
champs.
Let's save that for.
Yeah,
I'm going to go on for that for a while.
yeah,
I
we
have a lot of
could
things
we
cooked up.
could get into that.
I know
for a while.
I'm bringing up a lot of topics, but I got one more. I think we can end it on because it involves one of your teams and one of my teams.
Okay.
So now that I'm looking at the standings, the last place team in the West and the last place team in the East have the same record at 2-9. The Rockets and the Magic. I had really high hopes for the Magic this year, and you had not as high as hopes as the Magic as I had for the Magic, but you thought the Rockets were going to be decent this year, right?
I think I said they were. I like them, but I said they were gonna suck.
Okay, but
Can't see.
yeah, I'll go into it with the Magic. Yeah, I just think it's a really. I'll stick by my first comment about a lot of talent on that roster.
Under.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so Ian did take the under for Houston.
Even though that's my favorite young team.
Yeah, so you're on page with that, but so let me just go on with the Magic real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Magic, I think my standpoint on them is they have a lot of talent on the team. It's really hard to construct a young roster with that much talent because they're all, if you're a young player in the NBA, you want a lot of minutes. You want to establish yourself as a good player, especially when you're young, fighting for your first ever contract. And that's basically 80, I think almost 100% of the team almost. besides Bamba. I think Bamba just resigned. But anyways, I think that's holding them back a lot because they are involved in a lot of games. They're last minute. A lot of the games are in a lot of the games. Last thing I'll say about the Magic, Paolo, I was right about him. He's the best looking rookie, I think, since Zion, but Zion got hurt that year. And I think besides him, he's the best looking rookie so far since mm, I don't I don't want to say it, but I think he's the best looking rookie since LeBron right now so far. He's 12 games into it, but I'm going to say it. He dropped back to back 30 games. He has the second
I think
most
he's got a
20
great
point
game.
games.
I don't think he's the best looking though. I don't like his haircut.
I
But
still
he's
bang him.
he's a great
I mean,
player though.
he's like still pretty good. God damn it.
But he's killing it.
Yeah, he's killing it.
He's definitely proven he was deserving of the number one pick.
But that's my last NBA rant for this 2-week recap.
Yeah, I think just to kind of wrap it up with the NBA and the recap is that there's a lot of teams that suck that we thought would suck that are playing pretty good. There's a lot of teams that suck that we thought would suck that do suck. There's a lot of good teams that we thought would be doing great and they're sucking. And there's also a lot of good teams that we thought would be good and they're doing good. So I think we're about 50-50 on our sort of. It's definitely not what we expected.
Could be feeling a lot better,
Yeah.
but could be feeling a lot worse.
And if you took our betting advice, just be patient.
And thank you
Yeah.
for following our lead and trusting us.
Trust, it's a long season and these bets are going to hit.
And two things that I was itching to get into with NBA, but I want to get into a lot more for a different podcast is the Lakers and Warriors. So tune in for a later podcast on that one because those are two interesting franchises at this point, which both can go a lot of different directions right now.
All right, so what are we going to get into next,
I don't know.
pal?
This is where it can get really weird.
Yeah,
So, but we like that, right?
anything's possible.
If you're going to sign up for a podcast called Hungry, Horny, and Confused, you're gonna expect a little weirdness involved.
Yeah.
So
You're hungry, horny, and confused. That's why you're here.
I have one theory cooked up. Not really theory because I'm pretty confident in it.
Put it on my plate.
You really want me to get that into it?
Yeah, fucking slap it on my plate
All
right now.
Let's get into it. Let me pull up my notes real quick because I want to know where to begin correctly. I gave you like a little recap earlier, but not too much because I wanted to save it for podcast. And here we go. So this podcast, or this theory during this podcast, is going to be based on evolution. So evolution, a lot of different theories. Read the Bible, listen to science, listen to your heart, listen to your soul. It's going to tell you 4 different things from a lot of different directions. Before I get into this, do you have like not a strong standpoint, but do you just kind of like have a go-to thinking when you go back to on evolution, but like what came about?
It's not something that I've really spent a lot of time debating with myself, but I would say I agree with a lot of the science that has been shown over, that we've been taught that we came from.
Like single-celled organisms to
Like
water.
I believe that all makes sense to me when you look at
For sure.
a lot of the similarities to animals back then versus who we are now. So that's definitely one thing that's always been kind of trippy to me is just how did it all start? Like, yeah, go for it.
I don't know if we're gonna cut this out or not, but if not, you want us to cut it out or?
All right, and we're back, folks.
Welcome back. Sorry about that.
Wait, can you close the door a little so we don't get the fridge sound?
Good call. even though we're probably the world's greatest podcasters, we are humans. We do need to take potty breaks here and there.
Yeah.
But
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
what were we talking about? Oh,
Evolution.
I wanted to hear your take on
Oh
evolution.
yeah. So what I was saying is that I'm pretty much think all the science that and stuff we kind of learned in school makes sense. But one thing that is trippy to me is how it all like started. Like, how did the fucking Earth even become the Earth? Like, what's always been hard to grasp for me.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like, how does any of this exist in the first place?
So that's a really good point to
Yeah.
leave off on, because
Like, I feel like once Earth was created, like, it makes sense, like the course of evolution and us evolving from Neanderthals and animals evolving. But how do we even get to where there's an Earth and there's a cell? That's what's always been the trippy part for me.
So like on that note, whenever I thought about evolution, it always brought me back to that point. Like, yeah, it always made sense to me, but at the end of the day, it always led to way more questions than I initially had before I even got into it. So this is just a theory. This is why I think theories are comforting, because it gives people answers to these questions that they have.
Like, really, before you go,
Yeah.
like, here's how I'll sum up my view of it. Yes, the fact that we started from one cell and grew into where we are today makes sense, but how did that one cell? How did we get that one cell? Is where I'm.
You're just like feeding into my soul right
Yeah.
now, because my soul has all the answers.
Okay.
So, like I said, this is just a theory. Obviously, I'm not spitting facts here, even though to me they're facts. But this is the answer to all my questions for when it comes to evolution. So, like you said, the one cell organism on planet Earth, it makes sense because that's scientifically proven that one cell can develop into two cells. I forget what that process is called. Yada yada yada. I'm not going to get into it. This is why this is just a podcast, not a scientific BBC
Not yet.
documentary, whatnot. But anyways, back to evolution. So I always believed into the one cell thing, developed into organisms that came from the ocean, developed into on land creatures, somehow, some way developed into monkeys, and somehow developed into Neanderthals, yada 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 yada, millions of years later, developed into humans. So, like we brought up on a past podcast, like I told you probably multiple times in this household, there's something called the missing link.
Yes.
So the missing link is when there's not. It's weird to call it documented, because I don't know how you can document things that happened millions of years ago. So like there's some evidence that they have of the Neanderthal and Homo sapien brain size developed throughout the years, and it goes from like yay to yay to yay to yay. And they know why it went from here to here. They can make sense of it because of like development throughout the millions of years and whatnot. But that jump, scientists can't explain that. So that's called the missing link. So my theory, like I brought up past, is aliens came down, put their DNA into monkeys, the Neanderthals, they developed into humans.
Oh yeah, I forgot
But
about
yeah,
this.
remember, think about that.
Yeah.
But my thing about evolution, because I don't want to like harp on that because I already got into that on this podcast.
Yeah.
So like,
And we're gonna recover our tracks.
Yeah. So like
a couple times on this pod.
Exactly. So for those that didn't watch that podcast, and for those that did watch that podcast, I'm gonna make it short.
So turn into Hungry, Horny, and Confused episode 2 on our YouTube page.
You better do it, or else you're going to be asking a lot more questions than you had initially.
Episode 3. Go on.
I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like I said, to make things short real quick, the aliens, let's call them, they came down to Earth, they met up with the Neanderthals, they're like, oh, these creatures are kind of on a path to develop to where they become sophisticated. Let's just speed it up real quick because we need their help with developing minerals or gold or whatever it has from this planet. So they gave us their DNA. that what's caused us the missing link and jumped our brain size real quick and made us bigger and eventually caused us to become Homo sapiens. But yada yada yada, yada yada yada. Many years later, we become human sapiens, aka Will and Captain. Now think about this. So think about a chimpanzee, which is what we started as. Super hairy, bigger.
So like,
No,
I can't, it's just you're in a
oh
gorilla
shit! I didn't
costume.
think about it. Think of me. Think of
Yeah.
me. Muscular.
It's like think of us as chimpanzees. It's like
I didn't even think
yeah,
about that. This is the perfect costume for
it's
this.
pretty easy when you're in a chimpanzee
But like, all right,
costume.
but like, I want you
Yeah.
to piece this together because this is how I make sense of
Okay,
this.
yeah. Sorry,
So
focusing.
chimpanzees
Yes.
that became Neanderthals, they're super hairy, super
Mm.
muscular, like thick, right?
Mm.
Strong built.
Yes.
They have loud communication skills, like that's why their mouths are so loud, so they can like scream and whatnot. That's how they communicate with each other. Uh, that developed into us. So think about like how, that development. Less hair. We became smaller, thinner, less muscular features. Our mouths are smaller than theirs. Our ears are smaller than theirs. Our eyes are smaller than theirs. Now think about gray aliens. What people think of gray aliens, which were one of the first like theory documented aliens that were ever documented. This is a weird way to put it, but anyways, aliens. They're super scrawny. They're small. They have no ears. They have no mouth.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense that in a long-term evolutionary standpoint, that if we start at monkeys and come to humans, that if you follow that trajectory, that we would, in the
Become
long term,
aliens.
we would look something like an alien? So think about that real
Because we're getting
quick.
smarter, so our heads are growing.
And so we speak to was it telepathy? So we lose our mouths. That's why
Yeah.
there's just a slit there, and our brains become
We're
bigger.
becoming more like antisocial, so we're talking less. Therefore, mating less. Therefore, our junk is shrinking.
Thank you for bringing that up. Our
Yes.
junk is shrinking because we're starting to develop ways to just like take out semen and take out eggs and develop embryos just like
Yeah,
that.
soon it'll just be like wow, wow, wow.
Exactly. But before we get into
and get pregnant.
your weird stuff about this theory, let me end it with this.
Okay, keep going.
So you know how, like I said, eventually humans will develop into things that look like gray aliens.
Yes.
So when we see UFOs and gray aliens that are on our planet and abducting us and whatnot, those are just us from the future coming back and just checking in our things or just visiting us from another dimension, see how things are. That's just like us from the future. That's how they look different. That's why they look more developed.
And also,
That's
it
my
kind of
evolutionary theory.
I like it, and it kind of makes sense because you look at there's such an interest in our civilization and space travel and getting outside of this world that it's such a demand for people that it makes sense that we finally get there. And fuck, if we could do that, maybe we can travel back in time.
And like all like the big scientists say that if this world is ever going to develop, we're going to need to colonize other planets, like these aliens from the future that are visiting us are doing from other galaxies. In the
Yeah.
long run,
Here's a well, I do like that theory.
yeah. Give me like your questions, like why you
Okay,
don't,
well,
what you wouldn't
here's the
believe it.
thing. You know, how you say the missing link
Mm-hmm.
is basically right. The brain size goes from here to here to here to here, and then it just like
Takes a big
doubles.
leap. Yeah.
I think when you think about the way that society has developed and grown, it's not really a linear growth. It's more of a this could explain more of a doubling is the way society grows in my view is more an exponential growth because think about it, like the first descendants of humans probably we're not right. They're not that smart. They're just like trying to figure out how to find food and survive. But as the generations continue to come and grow, they start to find new ways to get food, new ways to get more nutritious food, new
Yeah, but like
ways to survive, new ways to survive and hunt and think and basically rather than going from, you know, this size to this size to this size, maybe it's going from like this size to this size to this size to this, it's like exponentially growing rather than a linear growth, if that makes sense.
yeah, but what was science? There's like that makes sense, but like what was scientifically prove that growth?
Because you said that they had
And
found,
it's not like that like period of time was like longer than the other exponential growth. It was just and like evolutionary wise, it hasn't been growing more ever since then. But you want to hear another theory that I used to believe about that?
yeah, go for it.
Psychedelic drugs. Apes started taking mushrooms that of course I don't know if you've ever taken shrooms or whatnot, but I have.
Yes.
And it opens up different ways of thinking. So think about if you're a monkey for the first time and you took a psychedelic mushroom, it would probably open up different ways of thinking. So that's another theory that scientists have thought of, which that makes sense to me too.
And that kind of feeds it. And that also, yes, I agree. And that also feeds into that exponential sort of growth that you could have seen, or maybe not. But yeah, that makes sense.
No, but
That
like that makes because it's to me like I get your thing, but like my question to your thing is why? Just like what there's got to be something that caused that like new way of thinking. I don't know.
because let's say the earliest version or descendant of a human, they they consume just like a very small amount of food. They don't learn that much because they don't have anything to go off of, right? They've they're literally like the first. They have nothing to learn from. They have no traits to inherit, like hunting or um, skills to inherit. So then the second generation comes along. The first the first like the earliest descendant like learned how like the most basic form of hunting. Then they add on to that. They eat twice as many nutrients as the first
You're
descendant.
explaining the first steps of like that small growth.
Yeah.
We need the answer for that missing link.
Well, maybe the
It's
missing link was one the just an idea here,
that's what we're talking
the
about.
descendant that found something like mushrooms or found something that really changed the game for really accelerated growth.
Something from a past
Yeah.
civilization.
Or maybe there's just like maybe maybe the brain, the samples that they found, maybe they're not necessarily all descendants of us. Maybe some of those those brain sizes were of a early Neanderthal that died out and didn't wasn't on the same like track as us to get to where.
Trajectory, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
just I
maybe
just
like that explains like why there's a weird gap. Maybe it's just a different type of species that died out and we're mixing it up.
so think about that.
Yeah.
Imagine if so like that so that's the missing link that we just didn't find like so like there's a Neanderthal that became into the Homo sapien. So what if we couldn't find the thing that developed into us because that's the missing link? What if there's also something else that we couldn't find that developed into something else that is just as intelligent as us? And that developed
What, Bigfoot?
no or something like that, or something that developed way quicker than us, and that thing that developed way quicker than us are those aliens that are visiting us now.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
I know, but everything comes back to aliens, brother.
Yeah. No, I like that too.
But I mean, it's just like all these theories circle back to like extraterrestrial life for me. Like that's why there's so much evidence, like why that makes sense to me. There's so many theories, like yeah, here's the answer to that. This, aka, it could be an easy cop out as well, but I don't know. Yeah, I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know.
no, I do agree that it makes sense that when our ideal. The other thing you have to take into account is, yeah, like the gray alien that we all, when we think of an alien, we think of, we don't really have any evidence to, excuse me, to show that that's what an alien looks like. So, but
Well, that's
it
because
would make sense if
the
it,
government hides it from us,
yeah, maybe. I mean,
or else they would say we have nothing to hide.
Independence Day, baby.
One of the probably top five movie of all time.
That is a great movie.
Fucking Will Smith shout out. I don't give a shit how you slapped Chris Rock. And we're back.
We're back, baby. We have one last thing we want to talk about tonight in spirit of the Powerball that we both didn't win last night, unfortunately.
If you're listening, winner from SoCal, spread the love. Spread the love.
That's right. Donate to our, yeah, fund us. We could use it. But in spirit of that, and I only wanted to buy one ticket, but the stupid machine doesn't give you change, so we had to get $20 worth of tickets. But besides the fact,
I was happy about it.
I was wondering, and yeah, just in the spirit of the lottery, and I think it was like an all-time record high. I'm not 100% sure on that, but what would you do if you won the lottery? Give me some ideas on how you
Do you want
would
me to start this off?
spend the money.
Well, I have one. I'm just gonna give you like my one set plan I kind of had.
Yeah.
So this is gonna sound like I'm pulling it out of my ass, but this is true. I told you this the other night. I'm gonna give a lot of the money away to family and friends first and foremost.
Good man.
I would probably ask my job if I can take leave for TBD because I don't know how long I'm going to be out for. I don't know how long this money is going to last me for.
$2
Oh
billion.
wait, I forgot. No, it's going to be 1 billion because of tax. It's something around that.
Okay,
I forgot.
1
Sorry,
billion.
never mind. I'm quitting my job. I forgot this is that much money. So that's a lot of fucking money. Jesus Christ.
Imagine just word like. I mean, I would respect if you wanted like keep
That's
that
a lot
job,
of money.
but
Okay, so like I'm not.
imagine, yeah,
I don't want like all my friends.
you
Like,
still got to get a job. I
like
think.
they'll still need to work, but like they'll like be able to have nice ass house and stuff. My family will not have to work for sure. After that, let's get down to the selfish things.
Yes.
I would buy a big ass cabin on the river in Montana so I can go fishing in the free time during the good seasons over there, and I go hunting over there. And then
I
I
like
would
that.
that's just like for my off season stuff. And then right now, I won tonight. Tomorrow, I'm buying plane tickets for me and my closest friends. I'm probably going to stay there for weeks and months, but I'm going to go to either Jamaica, Costa Rica, or some nice place in Mexico. I'm going to go down there with a bunch of money, higher security for sure. Maybe get involved with the cartel if that needs to be the case. If I need that much protection, because if I don't hire them, they're going to be the ones to rob me. And I'm going to open up some kind of fishing shack or bar or some kind of like barbecue, American barbecue on the shore down there because I feel like there's not too many of those. I haven't been down there, so we'll see. But I'm kind of just going to kind of implement all my money around there. And I'm a day to day kind of guy, so we'll go from there. That's all I got for my plans.
I like that. I think those are like a lot of good ideas. For me,
Wait, one last thing.
Yeah, go.
Because I'm going to be on the ocean down there. I'm investing into a fucking motherfucking nice ass fishing boat, dude. The nicest fishing boat you can literally ever fucking get. I'm
Hell
getting
yeah.
one of those,
Get all the shrimp you want.
and I'm naming it Bubba Gump.
Hell yeah. I like that.
All right,
There's so many. I mean, it's really so much money. You could do so much cool shit.
and that's why I'm just giving you like my first like. That's
Yeah.
my first week. That's
Yeah.
my first like.
We could go on
Yeah,
for
exactly,
so long about all the shit we do.
exactly.
Yeah, I think if I won, let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is I haven't traveled the world that much, so I think I wouldn't maybe like leave right away, but I probably go see my cousins in Idaho, then try to go to like Yellowstone, maybe buy like a nice cabin up there, similar to what you said. Then I'd probably go to Canada, chill out, go to Vancouver, maybe go on a like hunting trip with a guide up there, come back, probably buy a house somewhere. Maybe I really like Tahoe, like Petaluma. Yeah, dude, I like Petaluma.
Okay.
And or maybe just like upgrade apartments in SF. I'll probably just invest most of the money. And what? You wouldn't invest the money? I'm not going to get into it, Will. I know you think I'm going to say. I'm just going to say I would invest in most of the money. Um, but yeah, I probably plan out like some trips. Like I definitely want to do like a Europe trip. Probably want to go to like Iceland and like Bali,
I'm interrupting you right now
Australia.
because I'm frustrated you haven't brought it up yet. Am I getting some of this cash?
Yeah, you're getting a mill.
All right.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay,
And I would hope it
continue.
would be the same. Yeah, you're coming with
I
me
already,
on.
I already told you I'm bringing my
Yeah,
closest friends on the
I'll
trip.
say
I'm
this
giving you
too.
money.
I would invest in this
By the way,
podcast because I
I'm giving you
enjoy
more
it.
than a mill.
Really,
Yeah, I'm giving you fucking.
Pat?
Well, I'd probably give you because fuck. Okay, we might be getting serious right now.
I mean, I just feel like you don't want
We're
to.
getting $1 billion.
Yeah, but at the same, you give one
Let me see.
person.
Let me see if I
Here's
can
the
break
thing:
down this real
you
quick.
give one person $1 million, then everyone's gonna be like, "Well, you didn't give me any."
Yeah, but it
Like,
would be disclosed amount of money.
okay, yeah,
Is-
yeah. You don't have to. I wouldn't go like announcing it. Like, Will gave me $1 million. Fuck you all.
You sign a
Like,
contract to see if you did that, then all the extra money would go to everybody else.
all the money goes to charity if you
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, I'd probably try to use a portion of the money for a good cause.
I'll give you like 10 to 20. I'll give
Yeah,
you like 10 to 20.
my brother has autism, so I probably
Donate to that.
donate to some sort of cause in that area.
Are they
But
working on the cure for that, or is that even a thing?
no, it's you're born with it. It's not like a
Is that the is that where you're like have like a weird like super smart?
not necessarily, but
Or
yes,
wait,
there
what
are.
am I thinking of then?
No, there's like people with autism who can do like crazy math, or if you were to like
They have like incredibly good
yeah,
memory for dates.
like if you were to ask them what day of the week was it on November 8th in 1980, they could tell you. But that's just like a very small portion, and I don't really know how
That's
it
still
works.
like shit like that. To why like the human brain is the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I would just obviously put some of the money to do some of the stuff that I want to do, and then try to just be smart about it. I wouldn't uh, go and just like try to burn through it. I don't even think it would be fun to just like just spend the whole year like spending it. I think I would just get like bored like over that and just be like, I just want to live my life, you know. So I think it would just be like cool to know that you're always going to be fine, you know, financially.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool stuff you could do.
I forgot on top of that.
Unfortunately, we didn't win, so it doesn't matter. But
I forgot to say on top of that note about like staying cool and whatnot. I think I would still have a job, and I would just get a job at the zoo.
Bro, I would do this podcast every day.
Zoo and podcast. That'd be my life.
Yeah. We could buy the zoo and the aquarium.
I'm gonna become depressed because of all the possibilities I could have had. All right,
Anyway.
before I get depressed, anything else you want to say before we shut this motherfucker down?
No, I think this was a good combo, and I think we covered some
This
good
was a good one.
stuff. Yeah. I like
All
your
right.
outfit.
Thank you, appreciate it. I like your hat.
Oh, thank you. Well, it is holidays, so
We got one more season to go.
I just thought I'd whip it out again.
All right. Well, I'm Will.
The captain.
This is Hungry, Horny, and Confused, and we're
Yes,
all
sir.
three.
We're out. See you guys next time.
Later.
My beloved monster and me, we go everywhere together, wearing a raincoat that has 4 sleeves, gets us through all kinds of weather.